Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All or Nada According to Jack. And no, I'm not Jack. I'm your guest host for today. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility and Comic Book Geezers. And we're going to do a day in the life of Mr. All or Nada, Mr. Jack Toledano. And I'm here to get some information from him so we can learn a little bit more about Mr. Toledano, who I actually know for quite a long time, going on almost 40 years, but you may not know as much about him as I do. So thanks for having me on the show here, Jack.
Well, thanks, Pete. This is like a dream of mine to do this. I've done a bunch with, I did it with you back in December. I've done it with a few of the Sea of Tranquility faithful in the last few months, and the one especially with Martin Popoff was phenomenal. That was my best viewership of any of them. So
Good.
I really thank you for doing this. So
No
no notes this time. I am all yours to carry on.
Cool. So, obviously there's a lot about all of us that I'm sure people want to know, but it's probably no surprise. You can tell by his accent, but Jack is from Long Island. So Jack, were you born and raised in Long Island, lived there your whole life?
So here's the thing. So my father was in the Coast Guard, stationed in Capodichino, Italy, in Naples. That's where he met my mother. So I was actually born on a naval base in Naples, Italy.
Wow.
We came to the U.S. when I was 10 months old, and then my father got his honorable discharge and went to work. We lived in a couple different apartments in Queens. Then we moved out to suburbia in 1972. And other than me living in, meeting you at New Paltz in 85 and living in Peekskill, New York for like 5 years in the early 90s, I've been on Long Island. Long Island.
So do you remember the first time we ever met?
I do.
Moment.
I do.
So tell that story.
Great story. So I was living in Bevier Hall, which, on the other side of the gunk, if that's what you want to call it. And one of my suite mates, a good friend of both of ours, John Phillips is his name. So he was very nice. He was showing me around campus, and he took me around to a few people that he knew in Bevier. And we went down to this basement apartment where Pete Pardo was living. And Pete just happened to be playing something by Deep Purple. I believe it might have been Highway Star. And I'm like, hey, I just got into them recently myself. Back in the early 80s, a group of people that I used to play street hockey with, they were all into the same music, and Deep Purple was one of the few, one of the bands they introduced me to. So, I became a big Purple fan, and, Pete kind of made me feel at home. I'm like, this is cool. Somebody who likes the same music as me. And then about a week later, you invited me to this thing called choir practice.
Choir practice, yes.
Scudder Hall. And somebody whipped out the album Slide It In by Whitesnake. I'm like, great. That's another album I just got into. And I love that album. So
yeah, I think when you walked into my room in our suite downstairs, I think I was listening to Made in Japan. I think.
Really? I thought you were listening to a Deep Purple Made in Japan. Yes, yeah. As opposed to Made in Japan.
Right, yeah, Deep Purple Made in Japan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I was listening to when you guys walked in. Because if I remember correctly, that was like, wasn't that like that semester hadn't even started? I think you just moved in, right? Because that was right.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it took me 5 semesters to graduate from Turnpike Tech, we called it, Nassau Community College, right near the Nassau Coliseum, stone's throw away. So I started in New Paltz in mid-semester, or rather in January of 85. I started in the spring semester. So took me another 5 months at New Paltz, so I was on the 5-year plan. But
so Jack and I eventually, not that long after, wound up living in the same suite together. So we were suite mates for a bit. Do you remember how we were the only two like hard rock and metal fans in this suite. Do you remember like how much non-heavy music we were subjected to in that
Oh
suite?
my God.
Over the course
You
of the
know,
year or so?
it's like it was yesterday. You know, we have this person in common who we didn't really get along with, and I don't know about you, Pete, but he totally ruined Genesis for me. Destroyed him. If I can count, you know, I lost count the number of times I could hear him playing. Do 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 do. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Yeah, he played it a lot.
Oh my God.
He loved Phil Collins solo. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
John liked
Between
some of the
him,
music we liked. I mean, he was a big Who fan, which was cool,
yeah, yeah.
but was more into some older eclectic stuff.
We heard a bit of Grateful Dead in that suite, and lots of Pink Floyd, and
Yeah.
other things, some reggae and some Bob Dylan and things like that. We had we lived with some guys with eclectic tastes that didn't
Yeah.
always. We used to drive our suite mates crazy with some of our. I used to
Yeah.
play Black Sabbath and Metallica all the time, and Deep Purple and Yngwie and Maiden and
Right.
Priest, and
I remember one night, one of them really pissed me off. So I went in my room, I put the record player on, and I started playing some Heads Are Gonna Roll. And they're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, stuff we do when you were younger. So, and I also was around when Jack first started dating his now wife of all those years. So
Susan. Yep.
I was there from the very, very beginning.
Yep. And you were at our wedding.
Yep.
Wedding party. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Also to note, Bill Woodshields was also at my wedding. He's Pete's partner in Comic Book Geezers.
Yeah, that's correct. So we all go back quite a ways.
Yeah.
Ways. So after you like graduated college, obviously you started working, and I know you had various jobs, but you went back to Long Island. Did you kind of continue with your interest in music? Did you go see lots of bands live? I know Long Island has a pretty decent live scene from time to time.
So here's the thing. Yeah. So once we came back to Long Island and my children started to become of school age, at that time, I didn't really have people to pal around with. So I maybe had a few friends, and, sometimes I was kind of at their mercy sometimes. I'd go to shows, that they'd want to go to. Then, friendships come and go. Then if there was a show I really, really wanted to see, like, for example, a couple days before 9/11 happened, I heard Symphony X was playing at Lemore's in Brooklyn. So I just jumped in my car and I went. So I did do that on occasion. Then in 2009, I joined this lodge called the Odd Fellows. So this shirt that you're seeing me wearing, this is actually a fundraiser that we support for autism awareness. So they are having an event this Saturday, bowling for dollars, basically to raise money, and they're selling these shirts. Now, unfortunately, I can't be there Saturday, due to my other side project I have going on. But the moral of the story is, I gained some really good friends there, and some other friends that I could go to concerts with, and sometimes they actually paid for me, and I paid it forward. One of my good buddies, I took him to see Priest. I mean, he loved it, but unfortunately his ears were not trained. Poor guy suffered for like 2 or 3 days. Meanwhile, me, it was just another ordinary Sunday for me the next day. Yeah.
Yeah, earplugs for Judas Priest these days, I think, are mandatory.
I've never worn them.
Really? Oh,
maybe that's why Sue was always yelling at me, "You need a hearing aid."
I think so. I learned my lesson a few years ago. I wear earplugs all the time when I go to shows now, because man, some of the, not all bands, I mean, you kind of know, like, depending on the size of the place or the band that's playing, the ones where you have to wear them. Priest, I always wear them now, because man, they're loud. They're loud.
I didn't even find them that bad. I mean, my worst show ever was back when Bruce and Adrian rejoined Iron Maiden. They did this special tour where it was like a greatest hits tour almost, where they surveyed the fans, what do you want us to put on this greatest hit album? What do you want us to play in concert? So they did a show at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is just a couple blocks west of Madison Square Garden, and it only seats about maybe 1,500, 2,000. But actually it was standing room, but I was in the middle there. I think I was somewhere in front of the mixing board, but let me tell you, my ears were ringing for 3 days after that show. It was so freaking loud. They opened with Aces High. It was almost inaudible. Yeah. So
no fun. No fun.
no.
So do you have like an all-time favorite band and an all-time favorite album?
Okay, so it's funny, and you know, I don't want to give too much away. I'm actually going to do a show this month. You know, I'm celebrating. June is you know, that on Seinfeld it's the summer of George. I'm going to call June the summer of Jack because my birthday is in the month of June, as people will see in the next few days on Facebook. But you know, so getting back to that question, I have basically I go in a tiered system. I don't have one favorite band. So my top tier, I have 3 bands. So there's Kiss, who I've liked as a kid, Judas Priest, and Jethro Tull. So then, you know, you go down to my second tier, you know, I don't have that exact, but there's Rush, there's Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Accept is definitely one of them. Primal Fear, Symphony X, Hammerfall. I could go on.
Yeah, I agree with it. It's like my 3 favorite bands haven't changed for 30 plus years. It's always been Sabbath, Purple, and Whitesnake for me.
Okay, I was gonna guess, but yeah, I knew Sabbath and Purple. I didn't know Whitesnake, but
yeah,
so
it's been constant for so long, and no other bands have overtaken those 3. And sometimes, you know, Purple and Sabbath flip flop. Whitesnake has always kind of been number 3, but the other 2 kind of, they've always changed places throughout the years.
You may be talking about them soon in my top 3 metal series that I have going. So
cool.
Yeah.
Favorite car you've ever owned?
Well, first album you said. So
oh yeah, sorry, yeah, before we get to the car, yeah.
Well, there's Accept, Blood of the Nations. There's The Who, Who's Next. Jethro Tull, Stand Up. For Priest, like you, I love Stained Class. I also love Unleashed in the East and Kiss Alive. So those are among my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, Kiss Alive, it's a great choice. Wow, so Blood of the Nations, that's pretty high for a
yeah.
fairly newish album, right?
Yeah. Oh, amazing album. And you know, again, it was Andy Sneap. I was so glad he came on board to co-produce Firepower, because I knew how good his work was. So cars, you said. My
favorite car you ever owned?
Actually, I have to say it's my current car, my Toyota RAV4. And Pete, I got to tell you, I don't know if you heard back on Super Bowl Sunday, we tried to do the right thing. We were at my lodge watching the game. Sam and George were there, and she had a good idea, what seemed like a really good idea. Let's bring your car home, so we only have one car here. So get in my car, and it's like on the main thoroughfare of the town that I live in. I pull out, guy slams right into the back of me. You know, I was heartbroken because I knew with COVID, you know, and it's hard to get parts. It took me 2 months to get that car back. You know, the lift gate wouldn't open. So what George had a really good idea. He's like, you know what, you're gonna have to take the wires off your battery, otherwise your battery's gonna go dead, because the light would not close because we couldn't get the lift gate to close. So,
Sure.
Yeah, but actually, you know, I like to think that every car that I've owned has gotten a little better as time has gone on. We owned when the kids were little, we owned a Plymouth Grand Voyager, which at that time I thought it was a luxury vehicle, but you know, it had the removable seats, which I loved. Then I owned I went back to a sedan. I had a Nissan Altima, which I loved that car. You know, it was nice and sleek and sporty looking, and you know, had the cassette player, or rather the CD player. But then, you know, I ran it into the ground, had it for well over 11, 12 years. And then Sue got a Honda CRV, and I was so jealous because She got the leather seats. She had the moonroof, which I loved. So that's what I got the full package in my RAV4. So got the black leather. I got the moonroof. I've got the, which is pretty standard. What is it? The Bluetooth. So
Yeah.
I almost feel like I'm Batman now.
I have been pushing Toyota vehicles on Jack for years, and when he told me he was getting a RAV4, I was pretty happy for him because I actually had a RAV4 for 11 years before I got my 4Runner. So I've had, Toyotas now for quite a while. My wife's got a Highlander, so yeah, you can't go wrong. I mean, granted, someone hit you, but if not for that, I never had any problems with the RAV4 for 11 years. Nothing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's such a nice peppy vehicle. Oh yeah. We take a lot of trips upstate because we bought a property upstate, and we'll be working on it this Sunday, but it's my turn to drive. And you know what? It's just so comfortable. I love those leather seats. I love being able to listen to my Spotify, on the Bluetooth. Even, when I go long distances with Jason, this is like the coolest thing. We sit there and we compare our Spotify notes and our music, and I show him some of my music. He shows me some of his, a lot of musical exchanges. This is something nobody knew. You might have known this, Pete, that I actually, one of my guilty pleasures is that I like early 60s and 70s R&B and soul. So, and Jason's recently got into it. So we've been exchanging a lot of that music. Here he is. He's 27. He's listening to Sly and the Family Stone, for God's sake.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Sly is great. Stuff. It's cool. You have a favorite movie? Watch over and over and over again, never get tired of?
Okay, so one movie that I can think of, it's Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. What the hell's the name of it? Midnight Run. Yes, that is a freaking funny movie. I just love their exchanges. They're walking through the desert, and Charles Grodin's talking to him about this potato dish, Leonese potato.
That's a good one. I haven't seen that in a while, but I've seen it many, many times. Yeah.
Another one is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I love.
Yeah.
I'm not a big horror guy, but I love Jaws. So
Jaws is great.
Yeah. The original. Loved Captain Quint.
Yeah, great characters in that film. Great, more of an adventure film, I think, with the the horrific shark, but really, really well done film.
I love the 248 Hours movies. I like those early Eddie Murphy movies. And I like Beverly Hills Cop. Great. The first two were good. The last one sucked. Shouldn't have done it. But.
Yeah, Jack has always been into comedies.
Yes.
Whenever Jack and I talk movies, I want to talk horror films, and he always wants to talk comedies. So
it's healthy to laugh.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately, my current job, finally I'm at a place where I can laugh with people, for the last 4 or 5 years. Before that, not so much. I think, my current boss, he's a great guy, and we have a lot of fun. I'll tell you one thing that they dared me last year. So we have a Tuesday production meeting. It's all computer stuff, computer production. So our meetings at Tuesday at 11 every week. And so about a year ago, 2 years ago, since we've all been home because of COVID, few people have taken advantage, and they've gone out and sat in their patio during the meeting. So one of my bosses did that, which I thought was a great idea. So I did it, and I had my camera facing the pool just to kind of make everybody a little jealous. So they all dared me. They're like, I dare you to jump in during this meeting. So I was thinking about hemming and hawing. So toward the end of the meeting, I'm like, okay, I'm going for it. So now I have a semi-in-ground pool. So I basically just stripped my shirt off, and I just basically did a flip right over the side. And, everybody was just like, rolling on the floor laughing. Yeah, they thought it was great. And, it was a lot of comic relief. And, they all patted me on the back for being a good sport. giving them a good laugh at a time when we all needed it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a first.
So,
That's a cool story.
yeah, well, thanks. So we have a team in Athlone, Ireland. So one of them actually IM'd me after the meeting to say, oh, that was really cool what you did. And I'm like, and she's like, is it hot there? I'm like, yeah, it's not too bad. It's like 80, 85. She's like, oh, it never gets past 70 here. Like, what? I never knew that. Something. So I guess people in Ireland don't really swim. It's very green. I guess they get a lot of rain, but it just never gets very hot there.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad climate to be in, right?
No, but I mean, I love, yeah, but you know what? I love that climate. Anywhere from 60 to like 80, 85, I love. You know, anything over 90, it's a little much. You know, I got to make sure the pool's ready. But
yeah, when it starts pushing 90, 92, I'm like, ugh, and then it starts getting a little bit oppressive, especially, you know, living here in New York with the humidity. That's the worst.
Yeah, yeah,
the worst. So to stick on the comedy theme, so everybody who watches your channel obviously knows how much you like Seinfeld. So I guess my question is, you've obviously seen every episode more than once.
Yes.
Could you take a guess how many times you've seen the entire series in your life?
I would say 2 or 3 times. I mean,
So
the
each
entire
episode
series.
Yeah.
But there are certain seasons that I like more than others. So like, take, for example, season 4. There's a season arc where where Jerry and George are actually trying to put together a pilot.
Right.
Now, there are certain episodes in that season which I think are hilarious, beyond hilarious. So I've watched season 4 over and over again. Season 5 is when that show really came into being. It's when I first started to really watch it. I've watched that season over and over. Then there are certain episodes from season 3, like there's this one episode where they're fighting over a parking space the whole half hour.
That's a classic. Yeah.
I love that. I've seen that. I must have seen that episode like 100 times, but it never gets old. So, you know, one of these days, you know, and I'm trying to save this for a special occasion, but I will eventually do an episode, probably an extended, it'll have to be extended into a couple, you know, parts, like a part 1, a part 2, maybe even a part 3 of all my top favorite episodes. So
yeah, I was toying with asking you that question, but I figure you may not have done that already. So I was going to say, you know, who's your favorite character? What's your absolute favorite episode and your favorite line? But that might be better saved for something like that. So, in your opinion,
I mean, I could throw some lines at you, like the time George's mother found a prophylactic wrapper on the bed. You're like, what's this doing on our bed? And Jerry Stiller, what's this, a prophylactic wrapper? That one never gets old. You're grounded.
Grounded. I'm a grown man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In your opinion, has there ever been another sitcom that has equaled the greatness of Seinfeld?
I love The Odd Couple. I'm basically, you know, I don't want to give too much away, and I have somebody in mind where eventually later in the year we're going to do our top Oddfellow episodes, but I'm saving that for like kind of like a milestone date. I don't want to give too much away, but Felix and Oscar, Tony Randall, Jack Klugman, comedic genius. I love them. Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, I mean, I tried it a few times. It's okay, not great. I also love Everybody Loves Raymond, which is, you know, there are a lot of parallels in my life to that show. I'm not going to give too much away out of fear of offending certain family members, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's in nearby Lynbrook, Long Island. You know, it's along the southern line of the Babylon branch, you know, the Long Island Railroad. So it's about a 20-25 minute ride for me. So they're not too far. So I identify with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if I was to give you a call one Saturday and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Why don't you and I go out to your favorite restaurant? What would that be?
Okay. Well, unfortunately, well, there are a few, but this one closed. There used to be this place called Minato in Car Place. It was an all-you-can-eat Japanese seafood place, and all best all-you-can-eat sushi. It was amazing. I mean, granted, dinner was a little pricey. It was like $30 a person, but you know what? I would load my plate up at least a few times. So, as for Italian food, I've gotten a little picky in my old age, similar to my parents. So there are a few places that I like. There's a place near me called Mama Teresa's, which it's more of like a pizzeria type restaurant, but they're good. For real good Italian, I would probably go into Manhattan, into Little Italy. I mean, to be honest, one time, me and some family members, we went there, and I suggested we eat in Little Italy, and it was this place, like a corner place right off of Mulberry Street, and one of my favorite dishes that my mother has made is spaghetti carbonara. So I ordered it there. Phenomenal, as good as she makes it. Yeah.
I found, like, in more recent years, as someone who spent a lot of time in Little Italy, because my grandparents lived right around the corner from there, that a lot of the like really popular restaurants down there are not that good anymore.
Yeah,
and the best places to go are the little hole in the wall places,
yeah.
which there are plenty of those.
So take Vincent's Clam Bar. So there's one. So they originated in Mulberry Street. They have one out in Car Place, Garden City, Long Island. And we used to go there a lot, and until I discovered, you know what, their sauce went tanked.
Really?
I don't know how you make your sauce, but I detest putting sugar in sauce. I think it is gross.
There's no need for it, really.
Ruins it. Which, you know what, and a place like that that's always busy, they have to mass produce their sauce. It ruined it for me. But,
I mean, an Italian restaurant is, for me anyway, is graded on how good their marinara sauce is. It's just the way it is, right?
Now, do you like Rayo's? Have you ever had Rayo's in the jar?
No.
Try it. It's, for me, it's one of the best I've ever bought. I mean, I didn't like to eat jarred sauce, but we're so busy.
Yeah, I never buy it.
It's so hard to make a fresh sauce, all the time. So I experimented with a couple, and I found Rayo's. It's basically a restaurant in Manhattan, and it's really good. And they don't use sugar.
Okay. Yeah, the only time I use a jarred sauce, it's very rare, is if I'm making like homemade pizza, because I'm not going to make like a whole pot of sauce just to make a homemade pie, right? So I'll do that. But like if I'm going to make pasta, I'll make a pot of fresh sauce, and whatever I have, if I make a lot, I'll freeze some of it or whatever. But yeah, that's the only time I use a jarred sauce. And so, man, there's some really bad jarred sauces out there, really bad. I'm amazed when I see people go walk around the supermarket and they're loading up their, Prego and Ragu and all that crap.
Oh yeah, can't do that. Yeah, that's all the real processed shit. But
yeah.
So switching nationalities, I know you like German food, and we ate at a restaurant in Wallkill, which I really liked. So my buddies and I in my lodge, we occasionally go to this place in Glendale, Queens called Zum Stammtisch. It is probably the best German restaurant remaining on Queens or Long Island, period. It is just freaking amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you ever make it up to Mountain Brow House up just past New Paltz?
No, I don't think so. But I'd have to say this Zoom Stammtisch is its equal. So if you ever come down, we got to go. It's really good.
Yeah, I like good German food, and I love German beer. My God, lately I've been drinking lots of German beer. So
we will be going in the next month or so. But here's a funny story. So last year, June. So well, anyway, my birthday last year. I'm not going to give the exact date away, but everybody will know soon enough. But Samantha blindfolded me, put me in her car with Jason, Sue, George, the five of us, and I couldn't watch where we were going, but I kind of knew where they were taking me based on the twists and turns of how she was driving. They took me to Zoom Stomptish, so which was awesome. And I ordered this big tanker. I don't think I've ever ordered a beer this big. I mean, it was literally like this. I mean, it was like a 24 ouncer. I don't think I couldn't even finish it. I had to give Jason some. So, yeah.
That's when you go to a German restaurant, you got to have a big beer. I mean, that's just
Well,
that's what they do. That's what the Germans do, right?
well, the first half felt very nice going down, but
The problem with the big beers, Jack, it's like by the time you get halfway through it, it's warm already. Unless you're just gonna,
yeah,
consistently just chug it down. That's why I tend to, a lot of times when I go to, restaurants or breweries or whatever, and they give you the 20-ounce option or whatever.
I thought I was ordering the 18-ounce where it's, maybe just like that big.
18 is doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they freaking brought me this big freaking tanker that was like, yeah, I could not finish that.
Yeah, there's a bar restaurant, a German bar restaurant. I forget the name of it, outside of the Prudential Center in Newark. So whenever I go to a concert down in Newark at the Prudential Center, we usually go to this place and they serve the giant Steins of beer, and it's like it's like $18 for one of those. But I mean, you're drinking that for like an hour.
Wow.
It seems so. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to just order these pints from now on.
Well, 12 or 16 ounces is a good. Again, it's not going to go warm on you if you're drinking it, and it's a little easier to take down. Because man, you drink 24 ounces, it's like it's just kind of floating around there. So yeah.
Not to mention, as you get older, your prostate isn't as strong. You got to hit the bathroom more often.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
don't know how I do it with these 4-hour trips. I mean.
So how have your expectations been with the YouTube channel so far? Is you enjoying it? You having fun with it?
Yeah, no, I'd like to see it grow more, but you know what? I'm very pleasantly surprised. And I thought about this. I had, one of those moments of reflection about a couple days ago, comparing my channel to your channel. Now you have close to 75,000 subscribers. I just broke 400, which, I'm still very happy. So it's kind of like Kiss versus Ace Frehley. They can still book the 20,000 seat arenas, but Ace Frehley, he can book the 1,000 seat or theaters, where he'll have 500 or 1,000. But my goal in that situation is to still give them the best bang for their buck, still give them the most entertainment possible.
That's all you can do.
You have to thank your loyal audience regardless. So
yeah,
and sometimes I will experiment to try and get more views, but I also have to try and stay true to what I started with. So
yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, right? So it's always a good idea to try lots of new things, and you see what sticks and what doesn't.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer in that. If you try something new and you give it a go and people just aren't watching it, then you got to move on to something else, right? You can't keep trying, because I know as human beings, we tend to be stubborn. We want to do what we want to do. But if people aren't watching a show you're doing, a certain theme or whatever,
right,
got to move on to something else, right? Because, you're not really going to get anywhere with it, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. And it's coming up with these ideas. I mean, this idea for this top 3 metal show, it happened in the funniest way. I had a rare Thursday off because my company had a golf outing a few weeks ago, up on the north. I had some time to kill, and I'm like, and I see it, the shows you put up every day, and they're wonderful. And I was watching a couple of them. I think it might have been early May where you had the perfect album side. So I'm like, what kind of variation could I do? And then I thought, my specialty is metal, classic metal. That's what I think I know best out of all, I'm a little envious of the fact that I don't have the knowledge that you guys have in the prog scene. I wish I did, but I just don't. But I feel like
I can hold, crew.
Yeah, I feel like it can hold my own when it comes to metal, classic metal, and as long as You know, and we'll get into this in time. I don't really like death metal. It's got to have good vocals, but I think, you know, I'm a good judge. I can listen to something and say, you know, right away if I like it or not. Like just happened before you signed on. I tried a few bands that I didn't really keep up with, but I liked them both. You know, I'll
Good.
tell you off camera after. But
Cool. Cool. Have you had, I know you haven't been at it for that long yet, but like people always ask me, well, what's your favorite episode that you took part in? Or like who was your favorite guest, or what was the favorite topic you covered? Do you have in the short span that you've been doing this, do you have any right now that you're like, yeah, I really enjoyed that one, and one that you've maybe watched over and over again? Either it's something you just did or one you had guests on or a guest on.
I have a few. So one is happening right now. So thank you so much for this. There was the Martin Popoff episode, which I thought was just phenomenal. You know, he was just so wonderful. I was so happy I bought a book from him, gave him a little business. I'll probably give him some more in time, but you know, he was very gracious. You know, it really warmed my heart to hear that there were things that I got out of him that nobody knew, you included. So that was awesome. David LaGreca was on recently to you know, for pro wrestling, and you know, the fact that I was able to kind of impress him with my wrestling knowledge, because my wrestling knowledge goes back to the mid-70s.
Sure.
I mean, I would sneak up at night to watch the Friday night, Saturday night cards. You know, and this was the crappy shows where you'd have the bad guys just beating up the jobbers all night.
That's what it was all about back then.
Yeah, but I still loved it, and you know, it gave me a wealth of knowledge, and you know, having him on was great. So that was another one. I mean, I was happy as a pig in shit when I saw my first video go over 1,000 views, reviewing the Jethro Tull album. What was the last album they did? I'm drawing a blank.
Oh,
I can look it up.
yeah, I'm drawing a blank too. Great album. What the hell is that called?
That's okay. Oh, the Zealotine.
Zealotine, that's right. Yes. I don't know why I forgot.
Yes, that was episode number 18. I keep all my episodes in a diary. So
Gotcha. Cool.
do you do that?
No, but I have a spreadsheet that well, it's very similar. I have a spreadsheet. I don't even know if I've revealed this on SOT, but I have a spreadsheet that has, for every tab is that month of the year, and on it is the schedule.
Okay.
So I have every show that I record during the month. Everything that's in the planning stages goes on there with the date that it's going to be airing, or recording, I should say, who's appearing on it, what the topic is, what time it is, and I live off of that. So like, and as each show is recorded and airs, I just kind of put a strike through it, and this way I know everything is done with that. And at the end of the month, you have, like, you know, whatever it is, 30 shows that have been done, all with strikes through it. That means they're all aired, they're on the channel, and then I have, you know, I start on the next month and the month after that. So right now I'm putting together my schedule for June. I've already added stuff to July. It's crazy. Like, I couldn't do it any other way, because
I don't strike through. Instead, I unhighlight it. So I have a highlight for shows that are coming up, and then once they've aired, I take the highlight away. So
yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, you'll find that not only do you have to come up with ideas, but then you got to manage the schedule. And as you've already started having people on your show, then you got to manage other people's time and their schedules, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, I'm finding it tough, and I only air a couple times a week, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. You have anybody who you really would like to get on that you think is doable, but you just haven't gotten there yet?
Well, okay, so it's funny that you ask. So there is some turmoil going on in AEW right now. So there's this real monster heel. His name is MJF.
Yeah.
So you will remember how bad Roddy Piper was back in the 80s. So now MJF is like the Roddy Piper of the 2020s, and he's going through some contract turmoil right now. But a friend of a friend of a friend, Sue has this friend who used to date this guy who's friends with MJF's father. So I
Uh,
became friends with MJF's father on Facebook. So I'm working on trying to get him on, but I suspect that one of the reasons he's been balking is because of this contract turmoil. So,
yeah, he strikes me again. I don't watch a ton of
yeah.
current wrestling, but I read up on it all the time. So I know always what's going on. I just don't watch it.
Right.
And he comes across to me as someone who has had some success in recent years. He's very popular. He's probably one of the most popular heels on the AEW
Right.
roster. And he's probably seeing what all these other guys are getting paid. And
Right.
he wants
Oh,
to
yeah.
cash in. He
Yeah.
wants to cash in. And you know what? He's probably thinking, well, if AEW is not going to pay me what I want, I'll go over to Vince
Yeah.
and I'll make the money over there. The problem is he does that. He's nobody over in WWE, right? He's nobody.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
that's a risk. That's a
Well,
risk.
they already Vince already brought Cody back, Cody Rhodes back. So
Yep. Yep.
he'd take him, he'd scap him up like that.
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he
Because
would.
let me tell you, WWE, I think, is suffering like I haven't seen it in a long time. In fact, George and I were planning a rant to talk about it. We may actually record it after this. So we still want to, because it's still fresh in our mind. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just having a problem with creating memorable
mhm,
superstars, right? I mean,
right.
you got Roman Reigns and who else?
You know,
You know?
rock personalities I might like to get. I kind of like the way that interview you had with Rob Halford. I might like to get KK Downing. I know that's low hanging fruit because he always wants to talk about stuff, but I may have to like really tailor my questions carefully if I can get him on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know what? Other than that, maybe we could talk ideas offline. I mean, I don't know who I'm capable of getting right now. I mean, they look at my viewership, and granted, it's growing, but I can't promise them that I'm gonna, it's gonna go out to 20 million people.
Yeah, well, you got to start small. I mean, I remember when I was chasing Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, you know, the PR company wasn't getting back to me. They weren't, I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I'm looking online, and he's doing interviews on YouTube channels with 50 subscribers, 100 subscribers, and nobody's watching.
Meanwhile, but he's looking down the whole time. I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of turned me off when I saw him do that with some. He wasn't as bad with you, but
No, he wasn't. Yeah, he warmed up after a
yeah,
couple minutes, but yeah. So it's like sometimes you just gotta start smaller. So you might be able to get I don't know, like Ripper Owens, you might be able to get to come on your channel.
yeah,
Sometimes you
that
got to
would be
start
cool.
smaller. This
Yeah.
way, when you're trying to chase after the big fish, you can be like, well, I talked to this person, that person, that person, and they're
Right.
like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. And then maybe you can get some of the bigger guys to come on. So it's a
So
lot of persistence. And
since you mentioned Ripper Owens, here's a little known fact. I'm not big into reality TV, but I love this show called Bar Rescue. Have you ever watched that?
no,
Oh, it's a great show. It's where this guy John Tapper, he's like an expert. He walks into these failed bar situations and he turns them around. He gets them all the latest technology and trains them and teaches them what they're doing wrong and how to make drinks and how to put together a good menu. So Ripper actually had his own place, or had his name on a place in Columbus, Ohio.
yeah,
And John Tapper went in and did the show there. And I literally just saw it a week ago. It was so cool. And
interesting. Yeah, I just do that name out of the hat.
right,
Well, you mentioned KK before, so it was like
right, yeah.
KK now. So.
No, that would be cool. I'd love to have Ripper on.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I've met Ripper before. He's
Oh, nice. I mean, I think I'm in the minority. A lot of people say they don't like his vocals, which I don't get. I think he's great.
Yeah,
Very versatile.
I agree. I always liked his singing, and I think he works better in certain situations than in others. But I think when he's into what he's doing, he's a force to be reckoned with. I think so.
Right.
I like his vocals on the KK album. I think it's really good.
Yeah. Oh, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my last questions I have for you, because we are like about halfway through the year, do you have a favorite album release of this year so far?
That's a very good question. So I just happen to have my my notes up, reviews. So let's see. Uh, it is probably between Carpe Diem by Saxon or Rock Believer by the Scorpions. So I haven't really listened to too many, but I'm gonna have to start listening to some more. I know Hibri, I'm always tooting their horn. I have to listen to their new release. Supposedly Evergrey has just put something out this year.
It's quite good. I got it right here. I just
Oh,
reviewed it the other day.
oh,
It's
I'll
right
have to
here.
go. Oh, very nice. I'll have to give your review a listen. Anvil. Okay. No.
Not really.
But yeah, I mean, so I haven't really listened to too many this year, but because you know what, I wanted to do more reviews and I got a little sidetracked. You know, some of these other projects came up which were very fruitful. Like, for example, I did the ranking the albums of Judas Priest because I think I know them the best out of anybody. And you know what? Again, it warms my heart. Another video with just me. I didn't even need Martin Popoff for this one, and I got over 1,000 views. So very proud moment. So
Yeah, I will tell you, Jack, there are certain bands that if you do any video on are going to attract a lot of attention. Priest, Maiden, Zeppelin, Sabbath.
my maiden just dropped this morning. I don't know if you saw it.
No, not yet. No.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a handful of bands that just you could talk about you know how wonderful their farts smell and people will watch it. I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that Saxon Carpe Diem. He really impressed me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to rank up pretty high for me. I think at the end of the year, it's really good.
Super.
I like the Scorpions album. I don't know if
Yeah.
I love it, but I do like it. I think it's the best thing they've done in a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I thought it was really good. Also.
Yeah, it's catchy. I mean, it's got some good songs on it. You know,
A couple of
lyrics are kind of cringy in spots, but that's
yeah.
Scorpions
Yeah.
for me, you know?
But you know what to expect from them. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yep.
Cool. Well, this was fun.
So we didn't talk about these guys.
Oh yeah, we could do that. I totally forgot about the Nets who are playing as we speak. I hear my wife watching in the other room. So
well, that's the beauty of it. They're in LA, so you know, we can go watch. So
yeah, it's a late one. Yeah. I mean, I think we both have to be pretty happy with what's going on so far. And you know, there's still some things that worry me a little bit, but otherwise.
Well, you know what? The most important thing I think is he basically set them. So first of all, I was ecstatic the minute I heard they hired Buck Showalter.
I've been pushing for that for years.
Yes.
He's been there waiting to be picked up by someone. And Mickey Callaway and, no disrespect to Luis Rojas, but, they should have had Buck 3-4 years ago already.
Agreed. Yeah. But it's like he set their minds right. He's got them focused. They're focused on what's important. You look at Lindor now. He's celebrating success. He's not just celebrating stupid shit like his hair color or whatever, like some football players I could bring up also that celebrate the stupid things, their focus is on winning, where the Yankees have always been, and that's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And it's
they look like a professional run organization now.
Yeah.
That's been lacking for a while. Lindor, I always knew was going to come around. He's been too good of a player his whole career at 28 or 29 years old to just all of a sudden lose it. So what you're seeing now, that's who he is. Last year, I mean, you've been a Met fan for as long as I have.
Yeah.
How many big time free agent signings or people they've traded for come here in the first year here in New York? They suck. It just happens all the time. Remember Beltran's first year here?
Yeah, right.
He was terrible too. Right? Yeah. It happens for whatever reason. It takes like a year to kind of acclimate, and now he's used to everything and he's performing like he should be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's one thing we're going to need to do. We're going to need to talk maybe in the next few weeks, another baseball rant. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
I'm happy to do that. I love talking baseball.
again, what I love about that is I totally went without notes, and that's what I love these episodes that we can do that. Yeah,
Yep.
kind of like
Anytime. Anytime.
But
Cool.
that's about it. Unless you have anything else, we can wrap up.
All right, I got nothing else. This was fun.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank my audience. So I've gone over 400 subscribers. As we're speaking, probably this weekend, we're probably going to hit 20,000, all my videos combined. So
Nice.
that's a
20,000.
really nice milestone. I'm like at 19,800 right now.
Oh,
And
very cool.
I do count them up. So I do know how to use Excel for certain things. Very good with formulas and shit.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, I watch the views and the subscribers every day. I know I shouldn't, but I do, because it shouldn't matter at this point. But I was like, right now I'm almost at that 75K, and I probably will hit 30 million views probably tomorrow.
Nice.
Or
Okay.
tonight, something like that. So yeah, so it's like, again, I watch it because I look at all the numbers. I mean, they have such cool analytics, right? You can look at all sorts of stuff. I know what the average age is of people who watch. I know it's like 95% men versus women. I know all that stuff. I
But
know.
also, I noticed what's a way to try and keep people in your video longer?
I have no idea.
Because that's one of the things I learned from analytics, that people drop off after a certain point. So
Yeah.
I try to keep them concise,
Yeah. It's weird because like there are times, I mean, I do a lot of long videos. There are a lot of panel shows are an hour and a half, right? We've done some 2-hour ones. And, most people will say, well, you shouldn't do long videos because people don't have the attention span. But then when I purposely try to do like panel shows and make them shorter, I get a ton of viewers who complain that they're not long enough, and they like the long videos, and they watch this like they watch an hour-long TV show, and they expect that. So it's like, that's why I mix it up. I have the little short 5 to 10 minute videos that I do often, and then I have the big long panel ones. So it's like, you know what, if you don't have the attention span for a long panel show, then maybe that's not for you, right? So,
right. Yeah. Well, no, I like that idea that you mix it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine very rarely go over an hour, but I like the longer ones occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, it's I look at it this way. It's like if it's a conversation that I'm enjoying, being in, I think people who have similar interests to me who watch the channel wouldn't mind watching and participating in something that's a little longer, right? If it's a stimulating conversation, right, about something that they like. So,
well, okay. So again, Pete, thank you so much for doing this.
You're very welcome, Jack. This was fun.
I was almost thinking about going out and getting that happy birthday dunce cap, but I didn't do it. So I didn't get a chance to go out and drive my RAV4 today.
There you go. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, for this new edition of A Day in the Life of Mr. Jack Toledano here on All or Nada According to Jack. And if you're stumbling upon this show for the first time, please click that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so you get alerted every time Jack posts a new video. And hit that like button. That also helps too. There's this algorithm thing that they've got going on YouTube. Yep. The like button helps a lot as well.
Thank you for saying, Pete. Yes, I can't say it any better myself. So, but again, like Pete said, if you like what I do, please subscribe. Please, hit those like buttons and watch my videos. I do have things in the playlist, so I do have a day in the life playlist. So check out some of my others. I will try to get some more of those guests, but as Pete alluded to, sometimes it's difficult to get them. There's one person I've been trying to get. It's been hard. We couldn't coordinate, but I won't say who. But
keep trying.
Yep, I will. But anyway, have a good night, all.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.
Bye.